Talk about your Redskins.
Okay, the Washington Redskins. Now, last year they had the second pick in the draft, Robert Griffin III, fabulous football quarterback at the University of, Baylor or something like that? Anyway, he was great in college.
I don't know. I
You don't know college
school.
football.
I thought maybe a lobotomy you.
So don't worry about that. Anyway, he came in. The expectation was he would be drafted by the Redskins and start for the Redskins, which he did. He was a force to be reckoned with. He made a really good transition to the NFL, which, as I said yesterday, is extremely hard to do at the quarterback position. They went into New Orleans on opening day, and they smoked the Saints as big underdogs. And then they had a lot of victories. They also had a long losing streak at home, as did the Miami Dolphins, but they broke that. And they came down to, they had to win on the last day of the season to win the division, a home game, Sunday night football against the Dallas Cowgirls. And they did. And they did. So they made
Homo
the playoffs.
choked again.
Romo threw interceptions at key moments. And unfortunately, Washington got to play the Seattle Seahawks, whom we covered yesterday, in the playoffs, and that was the end of their playoff run. But hopes are high in Washington. Can Robert Griffin III stay healthy? That remains to be seen. He had a knee injury, which kept him out for several games during the season, and then during the playoff game, he got injured again, and he couldn't do anything. One of the risks of being a running quarterback is you have a much greater chance of injury than if you're a pocket passer or even a good scrambler that can avoid the rush. You can avoid sacks. Yes. That's Robert Griffin III's style of playing quarterback, and I don't think he's going to change. His coach might ask him to change, and to some extent he might change. But basically, that's the way he's always played the game, and that's his strength, but that's also his weakness. So the Redskins will go as far as Griffin's health holds up. Shanahan he's obviously proven himself as a coach. He won a couple Super Bowls back in the 90s with the Broncos. Now, that's when he had a team that you probably couldn't lose with, but I do give him some credit for actually getting the job done.
How do you feel about their defense?
97 and 98.
The Redskins.
So it remains to be seen. It's complicated. It's complicated. When you're playing against, in a division that includes, Tony Romo and Michael Vick at quarterback, that ought to help. That ought to make it relatively easy on the defense, but they're always going to have trouble with
Just
the
had to put another jab in there, didn't you?
Yeah, you know what? But actually, the year that the Giants won the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, the Redskins beat them twice. Redskins beat the Giants twice, so they've always gotten up.
That's the point I was going to make. I believe last year they split 1-1, didn't they?
I don't know, something like that. But so they played tough against the Giants. It's a good. They're on the upswing. It's a team on the upswing. Last year was a rebuilding year. Now, so Griffin comes in with the coaching staff having 1 year of experience with him, and his teammates having 1 year of experience with him. Redskins are on the way up. They will finish second in the division. Third will be the Cowgirls. Fourth will be the Beagles, and that's all I have to say about the Redskins.
Wow. As much as I love it when we're on the same vein and the same playing field of predictions, it's nice to have some friction, and we definitely have some friction on this one. It's going to be tight between the Washington Redskins and the New York Jets, in my opinion, because what happened last season was
the Jets.
The Washington Redskins and the New York Giants. I'm sorry.
Giants.
That's how much I don't like to talk about the Giants. I'm sorry about the Freudian slip.
Remember, the Jets play in Giants Stadium.
Well, that's why I'm so confused. It's such a big city.
It's understandable.
I see green. I see blue. I don't know if it's a jet or if it's a giant. I got something coming at me that's large. It's jumbo size, if you know what I mean. But anyway.
Joey's colorblind. You got to understand that about him, too.
That's right. That's right. You're my favorite African-American friend.
African-American? I'm Jewish. Boy, Gewalt.
I'm seeing dark over here. Especially after the Michael Vick slaughtering.
You can't blame that on colorblindness.
I can't?
No, colorblind means you can't tell the difference.
I live in America.
Blue and green and purple and that sort of thing. Blue and purple. But you can't tell a Jew from an African American. Come on, Joe. I know we got the same sort of afro. We got the Jew fro. Some of us, anyway.
The Jew fro.
The Jew fro. Well, some of us.
Yes.
Now, I don't have the Jew fro, and I don't miss it either. Because I think
I'm not trying to say you're Carl from The Simpsons.
Require
I'm
a lot
just
of
saying.
care. Anyhow,
Letty, you're more looking like Carl on The Simpsons, but you look more like a Lenny.
This is why Joey retired. He used to be a minor league. He used to be an umpire for Little League Baseball, and he retired at the age of 29 because he couldn't tell the balls from the strikes anymore.
It was a small technicality.
You know, it's
I don't know why. I don't know why they. I mean, they could just they could just let me run a couple of innings. They asked me to leave. They said it was too big of a deal.
You know, usually if the parents of the Little League baseball players don't like the way the umpire called the game, they'll maybe shout at him during the game, and maybe they'll write a letter to the commissioner saying this umpire doesn't know what the hell he's doing, you should retire him. But in this case, the parents from the entire league, from all the teams whose games you had coached, they put together a retirement fund, and they paid you to retire from umpiring Little League Baseball. But it doesn't mean you don't know football. It just means you can't see as well.
Well, I appreciate that.
Anytime.
The day that I was really disgusted with myself, and I was convinced it was time for me to leave, is when several parents went out and they actually constructed a place to tar and feather me while the game was being played, and they were planning on holding that ceremony as soon as the game was done. As much time and money as they put into that paper mache and all that wood and everything else and the chains, I said to myself, if they're going to go to that much trouble, it's probably time for me to pack my bags and shuffle off to Buffalo. So anyway, with the Washington Redskins, I see a team here with Alfred Morris, and I'll throw a few names out there. RG3, Alfred Morris, LeVar Arrington, and some other notable players on the defense who, they're so notable that I don't remember their names right now, but we're not in NFL season, so you got to give me a little bit of a break.
Yeah, remember, now it's 108 days until opening day, which would be September 5th, 2013. Thursday Night Football, Ravens at the Broncos. See it here on Joey and Mickey's NFL Sports.
And in my opinion, it was number 1, number 2 best game of last season, so it's a great way to kick off the season. It's going to be exciting. It really is. Thank you. But the Washington Redskins, they have found a way to compete with the New York Giants in that division. They showed it last season. And now, Shanahan, on top of that, has pressure to prove himself because he's been in Washington long enough that Daniel Snyder, the owner, is saying to him, I've surrounded you and I've traded and I've paid for the players that you want. I've given you arguably the greatest rookie quarterback to come out in the last couple of years, along with some other notables in Seattle and in San Francisco. And I want to see some results. And for Washington, they have found a way. They have found a way to win, and they have found a way to be competitive in most of their games. If I stand corrected, they were competitive in almost all of their games last season. There were some very close margins, even on the games that they lost. So, as much as I don't like to talk about them, and I don't like to eat at McDonald's because it doesn't go down as well as it did as when I was a kid. A Happy Meal is not that happy for me. But for you kids out there, please enjoy the prize, enjoy the Washington Redskins, and just know that they're going to be able to compete with the New York Giants in that division.